July 24th race report from the Trans-Pacific Yacht Race from LA to Honolulu. It is wonderful here in Hawaii. Trade winds are blowing. Not blowing as hard yesterday. The channel between Molokai and Oahu is not as gnarly as it was yesterday. We had some casualties out there due to that. But as you can see in this 200-mile view of the tracker, we got a lot of boats here on final approach. Reminder, the scale here over in the bottom left corner, 50 nautical miles. So 200 miles out is right around here. How do I know that? Because of that catawampus-looking icon there. These are the guys on the Santa Cruz 50. Oops, here we are. Where are you? There we go. That's the guys on the Santa Cruz 50, John Schultz's boat, Horizon. They've got a crown over their icon. That crown has been swapping back and forth between their rivals in Santa Cruz 52. Not a sister ship, but a member of the fabulous 50s class. The Santa Cruz 50, a much older design, long, narrow. The 52 is more of a cruiser racer design, a little more modern in design, but the two of them quite competitive, and they're usually neck and neck in this class. Horizon's got the crown on them now for a calculated estimation of them being the class Division 6 leaders, but they've still got 200 miles to go. Sorry, and remember, is this the delay? No, this is live. So they're 178.8 out at 1700 local time, and that was just about 10 minutes ago. So, but look at all the other boats out here in the course. Lots of boats from lots of divisions. Another division leader, Pied Piper. This is another Midwest-based team. We've had a few of them in this race. Yeah, Jack Jennings, his father Dick Jennings, had the Pied Piper program, a legendary program for the MAC races in the Midwest. And so they've taken their Santa Cruz 70 here to do the Transpac. And I think this is their first time in this race, so they're probably having an awesome time out there. 14 knots with 112 to go, so they'll be finishing a little after dark tonight. I'm going to zoom in and tell some stories about some others, and then just show you what it's like coming in on final approach to the Hawaiian Islands. We talked a bit about the big picture and coming in on your ley lines, whether you're coming out of the north hot on port jibe, like we saw the Paiwacket guys do. These guys are boats that are not in that mode. They're able to sail sort of downwind VMG angles. So they're trying to keep minimum distance to the mark by, jibing on shifts down the run line. Because there's certainly plenty of wind in all parts of the field here. I'm going to zoom in just a little more. Oh, so a couple things to point out. Whoops, yeah, there we go. So trade winds, obviously northeast breezes, 15 to 20 knots, sometimes stronger. But look what they do in the lee of these islands. So big lee, light air, even some counter circulation happening. And these are wind eddies behind the Big Island. And remember, the Big Island has very tall mountains there. Mauna Kea is 13,000 feet, Mauna Loa another 13,000 feet, and a saddle between them. Actually, let's see if I can bring in, toggle the map type. So let's go to satellite view, because I think this will give you a sense. Well, you know what? Maybe it doesn't work. We got to zoom in more. If we zoom in more, and I'll do this for Oahu, you can just see the topography here. So big mountains, big lee behind it. Obviously, that doesn't affect those on the race course who are coming in from the northeast. But I'm reminded of back in the days when we had what was called the Kenwood Cup, and prior to that, the Clipper Cup. These were ocean races that are around the Hawaiian Islands, both buoy racing out here, a middle distance race out along the north shore of Molokai over to a mark off of the west of Maui and back. So it was kind of a big, long windward leeward. And the granddaddy of all those races, what was called the Round the State race. And that started off here in Waikiki. You went around Oahu, past Makapu Point, Kaena Point, or is that kind of point? I'm forgetting. It's been a while. Over to Kauai, out around Ni'iau, and then this long, long, long leg over to here around South Point, beating into these trade winds and a lot of current, by the way, up what's called the Ka'u Coast. And that was really cool because if you happen to be doing that at night, you could, and if you were lucky, there was an eruption on Kilauea, you could see the glow of lava at night out here. It's really cool. Then around this point, I think that's Cape Kumakahi. I'm struggling, folks, to remember the geography. Off of Hilo, and the idea here too is you didn't want to go in too close at Hilo because look at this buffer of light air, and that's again from the wind coming against this big island here, and it just sort of stalls. I mean, just like any aerodynamic blunt effect there. So the strategy in getting out here was one of stay in the wind, but don't sail too long. Then out around the points here, back into the trade winds. This is quite a fierce channel here. Ali Nui Haha is what that's called, Laughing Waters in Hawaiian. And as you can see, because of the compression of a 10,000-foot mountain here on Maui, then a 13,000-foot mountain here at Mauna Kea, this wind funnels in Venturi effect and really gets rough out here. So out and around here, and then past Molokai, and that point north of Molokai is called Kalaupapa. Those that may remember or have read up on this, that's where the leper colony was in the 19th century, and the famous Father Damien story. And big, tall sea cliffs here too, by the way. I think they're a couple thousand feet tall. You usually don't see them because they're hidden in clouds. That too is one where you don't get in too close because of the wind buffering effect. Plus, you got to get out around Kalaupapa anyway. That thing has a big lighthouse on it that can be seen for many, many miles. And back in the pre-GPS days, these were important landmarks to use for navigation. And then the finish was back here at Waikiki. Anyway, that was around the state race. Some liked it, some didn't, but it was part of the program. Now, let's see if we can zoom in using the satellite view at this. Maybe we got to zoom in a little more. Tell you what, we'll go back here because I did have this working before. Maybe we turn the wind off. No. No overlay. Here we go. Okay. So being in the satellite view, this gives you a sense of the topography and how that affects those that are on final approach into the finish at Diamond Head. I'm going to zoom one more in. Here we are. Now, landmarks. Obviously, the boat trackers are still on for some of these boats. They've left them on board. This is the Alawai Yacht Harbor here at Waikiki. That's Honolulu Harbor over here, where the deep draft larger boats have to park because the draft limitations in the Alawai Harbor here. Honolulu Airport and the air base is over here. So those are all landmarks. Pearl Harbor is this area here. As the boats come in on starboard now, oh, somebody just jumped. They just did another sked, jibed back, making landfall over here at Makapu is maybe a little risky because you can get another wind buffering. Remember, the wind comes in here and it'll slow down and when it hits land, and you don't want to get too close in here. But it's a convenient place, just like a buoy race, for calling the next ley line because this landmark is Coco Head. These are old cinder cone craters from when volcanism was active here. Unfortunately, I have a geology background. I'm not going to give you the lecture on that, but these are all old volcanic features, and Diamond Head is one as well. It's a very prominent old crater. This is the ridge here called the Pali, and so the wind comes into here. It usually goes up on the Pali. There's lots of clouds up here, and there have been all week, simply because the wind's been blowing hard, and there's lots of moisture in the air, and it condenses and creates clouds. But for the teams coming in here, they've got to make a decision where they try to call that ley line from somewhere out here, or like these guys, come in close, do a jibe out here, do a jibe back when you're comfortable with where to go. Going close past Cocoa Head is usually okay. There's not any big wind buffer there. But then what happens is interesting. And this is, again, put this in context. You've been out at sea for days at a time. You've been out there, working hard, probably exhausted, but also excited, right? Waikiki is over here. Here's the finish line. Here's where all your loved ones are. Here's where all the cold Mai Tais are, warm bed, showers, everything you've been deprived of for the last, 5 to 10 to 8 days, however long you've been out at sea. So you're getting pumped up and excited to finish this race. It's a real exciting adrenaline rush to be in this position, and you see the land. And what happens is you get past Cocoa Head, and your finish is over here at Diamond Head, and the finish line itself is defined as a line from the lighthouse here that's on the southern edge of this crater, the Diamond Head Lighthouse. And there's one buoy out here, the Diamond Head buoy. It's a red bell buoy, and the finish line is a bearing off of that out to sea. You don't get in here. You haven't crossed the finish line. You have to keep this buoy to starboard. So your ley line is here. Now the wind is usually lined up northeasterly, so that this is a easy starboard tack jibe and straight line in. But everybody gets surprised often by the fact that what happens is the wind, comes in over here, and of course it bends down out of the ridge and then starts coming down this way to be offshore. So usually you're sort of in the full trades and all the seas out here, and it's all choppy, and you're doing some surfing, and then it gets light for a while because you get a little bit in the lee of Cocoa Head, and then all of a sudden the wind comes blasting off the land here. And this is called Hawaii Kai, and you get this big land blast that rolls down here. So you've been running along with your spinnaker here, your A2 or your S2, and then all of a sudden you wish you had your reaching sails up because you got a 20 and 30 degree header and a blast of 5 or 10 knots more wind. So this often surprises the teams. Those that don't remember it or forgotten that and don't set up, and it's not enough that you want to go through the hassle of a sail change because you're only a few miles from the finish, right? This down here, look at the scale. That's 1 nautical mile. So what is that? 5, 10, 8 miles, let's say, Cocoa Head to Diamond Head, and you're going fast, and the team's not going to be ready for a sail change because that when you get here to Diamond Head, the wind's going to lift back and it's going to bend around to being normal. So anyway, all these teams get this sort of surprise here. But what's really cool is having been at sea for all this time, you get this fragrant air. You get land. You smell land. And I can't underscore how cool that is after having been at sea for days at a time to smell land. And it's not bad smelling land. It's not like burning trash. It's fragrant. It's all the tropical plants and trees, and it's just it's really a cool feeling. And if you come in at night, it's even more so because you're deprived a little bit of your senses. With sight, you can't see the poly. Often this is in clouds anyway. You can see lights on shore, so you're getting close, but you don't have a great depth perception. And then you get hit with these big headers and this rush of land breeze, and it's really cool. And only do you really realize what's going on here when you get past Diamond Head, because Diamond Head at night is just sort of a loom. It's not illuminated at all. In fact, it's back illuminated because as soon as you come around the corner, here's all the lights of Honolulu and Waikiki, and it's just this huge sort of culture shock because you've been at sea seeing only running lights for days and days on end, and then you're hit with this sort of wall of civilization and reminder that there's some other world than the 50-foot world you've been in for the last couple of weeks. Anyway, it's a cool part of the Transpac experience, and the teams out there are now experiencing it, and then into tonight they will be as well. So coming around right now, Lucky Duck. This is a Rogers 46, a sister ship to Bob Pethick's Brett Walda, who finished a couple hours ago. Brett Walda, therefore, I think has won their division. I think there's only one other boat out in their division that they owe time to, but I think they're pretty safe with them. So they're celebrating right now at Waikiki Yacht Club. Here is Artemis, big, fast cruiser racer, Boateen Design 65. So they're scooting. They're not a TP, not that fast, but certainly having a great run and doing well in this race. And out here is another target, Fast Exit. This is John Raymond's boat. It's a Cara 51. I think this boat's relatively new to them. They've certainly done this race many times, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the fastest boats they've had in their experience. So it'll be interesting to see how they, again, get down through here. And they know about this, but they'll be new to it with that boat and how that behaves. We're actually going to go do an interview on the dock with them. So that's my show for tonight. I just wanted to give you all a feel for what's happening here and how these teams are experiencing their final approach. And to everybody that's here, aloha, welcome. Get some sleep, get some rest. It's going to be a great day here in the islands. And for those that aren't here, we wish you were here. The feedback from this race has been fantastic, and everybody here couldn't be happier. So I'm going to sign off now. This is Dobbs Davis for the Trans-Pacific Yacht Club. So long, and we'll see you tomorrow.